think your thing is on mute.
Yep. How
Okay,
are you
there you go.
doing?
Awesome. Thanks for being flexible with me on the time. And
Oh, of course.
I wanted to apologize about the video and having it posted without, obviously going through you and making sure it was okay to post. Also, I just wanted to apologize too because I'm super allergies are just
Oh
crushing me
man.
today. I'm super stuffy, sneezing, coughing.
Oh no.
Yeah, just terrible today. But thank you for again just jumping on and just yeah, I wanted to utilize just the video for us to jump into a testimonial and just kind of get some thoughts on how you felt about the program so far. Obviously we talked about this previously, but
Hmm.
being that you're able to accomplish so much at the program. Yeah, I absolutely love to have some of these videos as some of the testimonials for other clients to see and just, obviously
Of
pick your
course.
brain and just kind of determine how you felt about everything jumping into the program. So yeah, feel free to fill me in on some of the details that you felt were just really helpful for you whenever you jumped into the program. What were some of the main things that you felt were really helpful for that?
So I liked the structure from the beginning. Everything was very clearly laid out. I knew ahead of time what my workouts were going to be. Usually in the evening, the night before, I would scroll through and see what my workouts were going to be, just so I could kind of mentally prepare for what was going on. So there were no surprises about that. Um, and I liked, and it took me a while to get so that I was comfortable tracking consistently.
Mm,
In previous programs I had done, it was kind of hit or miss, and it didn't really matter because nobody was really checking. Even though I was paying for like an online coach, nobody checked. It didn't
yeah.
take long for me to realize you were actually checking, and and you actually look. And so after missing 2 or 3 days, you would text me, "Hey, what's going on? Are we having trouble?" And I thought, "Oh, so this is how
Yeah.
this is going to work." And so it didn't take me long to realize how committed you were to helping me. And that helped me really up my game. And for tracking, it, like I said, it took a while to kind of get in the groove with that. But I found that if I just automated as much as possible, it was so much easier for me. And
Hmm.
that came from one of your suggestions I think you had made on Instagram. um, and so I pretty much, and I don't have any trouble eating the same things meal after meal. It doesn't bother me. And so I found a breakfast that I really liked. And it would consistently give me, depending on how I tweaked it, 35 to 40 grams of protein at breakfast, which was killer for me to start the day with. And I would eat that breakfast. I still do every single morning. That's what I eat for breakfast. And it's just, it's just automated. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to wake up in the morning and think, okay, now what do I have to eat? And then on the tracker, you can just copy it from day to day to day to day. So you don't have it to, painstakingly uh, add everything. And I did the same thing really for lunches too. I would usually, for lunches, it would be a whole week, I would have the same lunch. And I'd prep it on Sunday, and that would be my lunches for the whole week. And then, and I would also track as much of the day as I could first thing in the morning. So most of the time, I tracked my entire day, snacks, dinner, everything. So once I automated that, it wasn't a big deal at all. Like, and I'm still doing that. It still feels like just part of what I do now. So that made it really easy. Um, and then automating like my workouts, I have to get up super early, and we've talked about this like at
Yeah.
5:30, which is not really early for a lot of people, but it's kind of early for me to be consistently getting up. And I laid out my workout clothes, I laid out my contacts, I laid out everything I needed was right there. And so when in the morning I didn't have to fumble around looking for stuff, it was all ready to go. And so I just had to jump in them and go.
Well, I think that makes a big difference in terms of just being prepared to actually do things is like you take away some of the friction and the resistance of actually doing those things because they're already taken care of on the front end. And so being able to actually stick to it and do it is
Hmm.
that much more easier. You save so much more time on the back end if you just spend a little bit of time and effort pre-planning ahead of time to, set yourself up for success. And you've done a really great job of that.
Yeah, and like I said, it took me kind of bumbled around for a month or so with that, but
Yeah.
once I really got keyed into that, it was so much easier. So if I had to go back, and I guess everybody has to find their own way with that, but if I had to go back, I thought, I would try to get really laser focused from the beginning on that.
Yeah, 100%. What would you say would be some of the main things that, especially jumping into a program like this, obviously it is scary. There's a large, approach going into the program, just getting clear on some of the things that, are not always easy to do. What would you say, were some of the main things that before jumping into the program, you were a little bit weary of, or perhaps, kind of scared of, or just fearful of before jumping into the program? And what gave you that sense of confidence to know, okay, yeah, I'm in the right spot. I know this is exactly what I need. And how did you sort of overcome some of those challenges?
Um, yeah, so for me, it was fear of failure. I had tried so many different programs. Some of them were online, some of them were like, the groups where you meet together every week, and some of it was just kind of winging it on my own. And honestly, it was the fear that this is going to be another program that I'm going to fail, that
Mm,
I'm not going to be successful. And so there was um, a lot of shame actually for me for 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 some of these programs. I had laid out, money for them, and it seemed like a waste.
hmm.
My husband is very, very supportive and sweet and kind, but when I started this, he was like, so this is another way you're going to try to lose weight. I mean,
Yeah.
he also was kind of like skeptical of it. And so I think that was my biggest hesitation is, am I going to be able to commit to it? Am I going to be able to be successful? Um, and it was the fear that I wouldn't. And that kind of that perfectionism is is good for some things in life, but in other things in life, it can paralyze you. And so I think I'm a high achiever, and so I just assume, I've achieved everything else. Oh, this shouldn't be hard. It's hard. There's no
Yeah.
way around it. It's hard. It's a commitment. It's a daily focus. It's a mental game. I had to play just these a mental commitment as much as anything else. And so as far as that, that was my fear going into it, honestly. And it had nothing to do with program. I understood about the workouts. I knew I could work out hard. I wasn't worried about that. Um, I didn't know if I could stick to the tracking, but after a while that kind of clicked with me. But it was just really more on me as opposed to anything with the program is,
Hmm.
am I going to be able to be successful?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's, concerns, especially before jumping into the program. Is this is going to be the same thing? I've obviously struggled with programs in the past. Am I going to get the same level of support? It's always a constant battle, because if especially whenever you invest into something, you expect to get a return out of it, and
Mhm.
sometimes that doesn't always happen. Even for myself, I've jumped into programs before, to help me build my business, and it didn't live up to the expectations that I expected it to be. And even working with my most recent coach now, I had uh, those same concerns, and they're
Mhm.
very valid. There's so much out there. There's so much information. It's easy to get caught up in trying to figure out things on your own. But secondary to that, trying to invest in a program where, when they're promising certain results out of it and you don't get them, you don't see the results. And so when you think about that, I know that you kind of touched on it. It's like, okay, like I realize you're a real human. You're actually checking in on me. What was the biggest shift that you made that was providing you with the result of achieving this goal, which I want you to talk about? What were you able to achieve, and what was just the main differences that you felt that were really helping you get to the point that this was something that you knew was going to get you where you wanted to go?
Yeah, so I think it started to click with me um when you and I would have some hard conversations. There was a point that and it was like 2 months in, and I was so frustrated, and I was thinking, this is not sustainable. this is not, I can't, I didn't feel like I was getting enough to eat. I felt like I was obsessing over what to eat. I just couldn't find the right balance. The workouts seemed hard. I don't know,
Right.
everything, it just wasn't working. And it was that point, the exact point on all these other programs when I would say, peace out, I'm gone.
I'm done. Yeah.
And just quit.
Right.
And because I had the commitment to your program over the long term, not just 12 weeks, but I think it was like, I think we had a 9-month program.
Yeah.
And because I had that long term commitment, I remember thinking, well, I can't quit now. I might
Yeah.
as well figure out how to make it work because I can't quit.
Hmm.
And so you and I had, and I'll remember that. And I just said, this is impossible. I can't be perfect. And you said, nobody asked you to be perfect.
Right.
That's not what we're asking. And just the accountability of having you and me knowing you were looking at my workouts, you were looking at my nutrition, and you were trying to help me figure out how to tweak it. And sometimes we would go up on the protein, sometimes we would back it off. We kind of, played around with it a little bit, and throughout the time too, life continues to happen. I had a major job change. I
Right.
had pretty big vacations, like a cruise, a Europe trip, a trip to London and Scotland. I had several weeks where I was sick. One time I was
Right.
in the hospital. It was, so all these major life things. I had another grandbaby. I mean, just all the things. But through it, I would contact you and say, "Hey, just to let you know, I'm sick this week or whatever."
Right.
And it was that constant conversation, and it was that constant support that 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 really, it above all else is so different than any other program. And people cannot realize that. I think when you're scrolling Instagram, you're scrolling Facebook or whatever, and there's all these different programs that are offering to be your online coach, and man, I've done them.
Yeah.
But the level of service, and maybe service is not the right, maybe it's partnership, the level of
Yeah.
partnership and being that coach that really is going to push you when you're like, I can't do it anymore. But that tough love, man, that's what I needed. I needed it so bad. And that's the difference, that your program is a head and shoulders above any other program I've ever used. It's just that.
And what were you able to accomplish, throughout these past 8 to 9 months that we did have this partnership, this program? What were some of the results that you achieved? And how do you feel that will be able to help you prep for years to come? Like, what are some of the things that you feel really help you teach you how to maintain what you were able to achieve?
Yeah. So, of course, there's the scale, and there's the loss of inches, but it's building consistency. That's what it has done for me. It's built that consistency where I work out 5 days a week, and it's non-negotiable. I work out five
Hmm.
days a week.
Hmm.
And I track my food. That's just who I am, what I do now. And that's going to continue. Um, I hope for years, because I've been down this road before also, where I've lost some weight and then it gradually comes back. I'm not going down that road again. This is it for me. And so as far as weight loss, I've lost, I think the most recent 24.8 pounds. So right at, 25 pounds. I've
Yeah.
got about 20 more to lose. And I'm quite confident I can do that.
Yeah.
And I've lost inches. I've lost track of inches. I'm down like 3 sizes. And
Yeah.
so, I've just had to
Incredible.
purge my closet over and over. Now I've got this minimalistic little capsule, a
Yeah.
wardrobe. Um, and so that's been really fun to see. I'm 64 years old. So a lot of people say, after 50, you really can't change that much. After
Right.
50, or, whatever age they want to use, after 40 or after 50 or whatever, your body is the way it is. You just have to get used to it. Yeah, you don't really.
Right.
Your body doesn't realize how old it is. It's going to respond to nutrition and to exercise and all of that. So, um, Yeah, I feel proud of what I've accomplished with your help. And but also I know that it's given me the tools that I can continue. And as I age in the next 15, 20 years, I know it's making me stronger. And we love to travel. And we love to take really active trips and be active and hike and walk and do a lot of fun, adventurous things. And because of me getting in shape, losing weight, being stronger, more fit, we can do these active vacations and for years. And so it's been a lot of fun for me to do, and not fun every day, but overall,
Yeah, for
it's some
sure.
days were not as fun, right? But it's been very fulfilling for me to do this program and to see the success and to see how you have supported me when I wasn't having a good day and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But also, I knew when I would have several days of weight loss, you would send me a text and say, "Wow, you're killing it.
Yeah.
You've got 3 days of losses," and so I would always get tickled because I would kind of wait
Yeah.
and see. I'm going to see if he notices this, and so you weren't there to jump on just when things were going poorly and I wasn't tracking or whatever. But you were the first one to be the cheerleader for you are killing it. 4 days of weight loss. You're doing great. Don't change a thing.
Yeah.
And that would always make me laugh and make me have a good day. So that was fun. Another thing on the program too that I really haven't thought that much about until this last week or so. There's a whole community, so
Yeah.
it's not just you and me, but there's a community of people in this program that are going through the same things. And I really enjoyed um, reading. We kind of submitted kind of an abbreviated journal on Mondays,
Right.
and it was very encouraging to read other people's journals and see, yeah, some people are really doing great. Oh man, she's really struggling. But then also see in real time how you and the other coaches would say, let's talk, let's schedule a
Right.
call. We need to work through this. So it was interesting for me to see, sometimes you're in this little bubble and it's just me and Adam. No, actually it was
Yeah.
you and I don't know how many other people that you're coaching, but they were getting the same level of attention and service and coaching that I was. And I enjoyed that community. And every time I met my nutrition goal or worked out, I'd have multiple people give me thumbs up or
Yeah.
emoji hand claps or whatever, and just little things like that were kind of fun.
Yeah, I think the community aspect really does play a much bigger part than what we realize, especially for me, like it's great to get help from a coach, but to be able to be understood because there's others in the same situation, dealing with the same struggles, dealing with the same
Hmm.
challenges, trying to reach the same goals as you, and perhaps even succeeding with similar goals too, it really helps you to be understood, right? Like you're not alone. There's other people in the same exact situation, experiencing the exact same things. And just the ability to be able to bounce ideas off of one another just really helps you, you know, just entertain the idea that like, hey, I'm just not alone throughout this process. And
Hmm.
it's helpful just to know that to be, that there's others helping you as well. Right. My last question for you, Lisa, is like, what would you tell Lisa 8 to 9 months ago before she joined the program? What would be the main thing that you would tell her jumping into a program like this, jumping into this journey like this? What would you say, or what would you say to her? What would you tell her?
I would tell her to trust the process, that it's going to work, and to believe that, have faith in yourself. Um, don't doubt it. Don't get caught up in your head with all the things. Also start automating from the beginning, automate food tracker, automate everything from the beginning, so that it's less of a mental strain. um, but yeah, I wish I had known then how I would be successful. And I guess it's impossible to tell people, but I do remember our very first call. Maybe it was second. We had a few calls before I really started, but I remember you were so confident. Like it wasn't even a question. I think I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
I think I expressed that and you said, you can't, you will do this. Like, I
Yep.
mean, there wasn't even a morsel of doubt in your mind. And I thought, how can he be so sure? But you just kept saying, you're going to do this. You're going to do this. And that's, I heard that. Sorry, my dog is barking.
No,
I
that's okay.
heard that in my head when things, when I started doubting or had a hard day, I heard that voice in my head, like, yeah, you got this. You can do this.
It's so big. I think just even considering that trusting the process is hard in and of itself. Once you've got that system in place, it's the same thing I'll tell you from that first second call that we had. I having that level of confidence comes from the fact that not only have I done this so many times beforehand, but there's just such a proven scientific process to this that if you are to implement it, you will get the result, bottom line. And if we don't see the result, what do? We make the necessary adjustments so that way you do so, right? And it's just a matter of that. And I think what also helped me know that you were going to succeed with it is that you were willing to do all these other things before. You were committed to actually seeing yourself change before that. I knew that the commitment was there. You were willing to do what it takes. And a lot of people miss that. It's like you're willing to do what that takes. Not only is that important for you, but it's important for me to know that. All the green flags were being waved with that. And it's incredible to see what you were able to accomplish, the level of confidence that you have now being at the point that, like, yeah, I've got this next 20-pound goal, but knowing what I know now, I know that I can achieve that. I will get there. And now it's just a complete shift of mindset. Now you have those skills, you've got the tools, you've got the education, you've got the ability to do that on your own. And that was really the most important thing I wanted us to accomplish during our time together is like not only reaching that goal, but knowing that you can sustain it on your own, right? Knowing that you can actually commit to doing something and stick with it and trust that process, right? Because it's not
Yeah, and I
easy.
think that was one of the frustrations I had because I had done it before. Like I've
Yeah.
run two full marathons, like 13 halves. I was in a really, really good shape for a while. I'd
Yeah.
lost weight. And that I think knowing I can work out hard, I can push my body hard, but I can't get back there.
Right.
Why can't I get back there? Why can't it work again? And it's just like, I don't know, flipping a switch is the only thing I can say. It's just like this program flipped the switch for me
So big.
to be able to know, yeah, I can do it. I have the tools. Like you said, it's scientific. It's not, it's going to work. There's a
Right.
calorie deficit. Okay, you're going to lose weight.
Right.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Um, but it takes that consistency and that commitment, and it's not going to. I think today in our culture, we are so programmed that everything's fast.
Instant
Everything is a
gratification.
fast turnaround. We get
Yeah.
it fast. We Amazon and we have it in 2 hours, and
Yeah.
it's just like weight loss and nutrition and fitness is not like that. And it's not a 12-week fix. It's not even 9 months or a year. This
Lifelong.
is has to be a lifestyle. And I think that is the switch that was flipped for me. Like this is it.
You know what's funny? I was going back on the old videos before because I always like to see where you were at before. So like the little note taker here, it keeps track of the calls. I know what you said on that first call, but even what's even more so funny is that not funny, but what I've noticed, your facial structure is entirely different on this call than it is on the other call. It's slim, nice and
Yeah.
toned. Like you could see the difference in your facial structure from that first call to this
I
call today.
know.
And I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it. But yeah, your face is nice and
Yeah.
sculptured, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny to take a look at those things, even just from the shoulders up. You're able to see change, and it happens with my other clients too. It's like, oh my gosh, like especially if they haven't like jumped on a call with me in a while. I mean, obviously we schedule calls whenever, but sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, your facial structure looks so much different. I
I
haven't
know.
talked to you in a
What's
few
really
weeks.
funny is I work in an online remote job. And so, my, and I started that job like just weeks after this program. So the
Okay.
people in that job knew me like when I first started. And
Yeah.
somebody commented, you're, of course, we're on Zoom, so they don't see
Right.
anything other than my shoulders down.
Right.
I mean, shoulders up. And they said, have you lost weight? Your face looks thinner.
Yeah. It's just all
And they
through
haven't
face.
even seen the rest of me.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, that's been kind of
Well, it's
fun.
typically the first to really start to, see change with this
Yeah.
piece, for sure. But Lisa, I really appreciate you taking the time again to just talk about the program, what you've been able to accomplish. Just even being able to speak with me is an honor. Really, it is. I appreciate you just taking the steps necessary, putting in the work, staying committed, making an investment into yourself to jump into this and see that change. I mean, that's not an easy decision to do. It's very scary. There's a lot that's involved, but hey, you've been able to come this far, and I'm extremely confident that you'll be able to reach that next goal and be able to maintain it, which is exactly what I was hoping to accomplish with you. So again, thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you. Thank you for all you do. You have a wonderful
Thank you.
business.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're the exact person that needs to be doing this. And I wish you the best of success in everything you do.
Thank you, Lisa. Alrighty. Well, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.